Iribo, I hope you are having a delicious day. And if you are not, it is about to get better. You guys are tuned in to Bull Brand, State of the Strong. Mm-hmm. This is a podcast that is for the real manobas of the world, and especially Mzansi Africa. So we're about to have a wonderful time. I am not alone. First of all, my name is Lerai. Thank you for tuning in. I'm joined by my co-pilot, Mr. Sibumbanza. How are you doing?
I'm very good. Thank you very much for having me on this amazing podcast. Always happy to be here. We're almost like a solid portion through the season, hey?
Can you believe it?
I'm almost sad. Producers, can we have 35 episodes this season? Is that fine?
No, do you remember there was that other episode that we were supposed to have a part 2?
Yes, that's the problem.
Another one.
Just watch. Today's episode, there's going to be a part 2, part 3, part 4, because the guy we're talking to today, his entrepreneurial spirit is like nothing I've ever seen before. Themba, Makamo, how are you doing, brother?
I'm good, man. I'm good.
We're so happy to have you on the show, man.
No, I'm excited.
It's a bit cold, right?
Yes.
So we need to warm ourselves up. So I think let's do like a bit of a game just to get the energy going. How do you feel about that?
No.
Okay.
Amazing.
If you are tuned in via podcast streaming services, I have just opened the all-knowing jar. We're about to play a game called 60 Seconds of Strong. You guys already know how this goes. I'm going to give you pieces of paper that have prompts on them, right? Not the ChatGPT prompts, but like finish the sentence type of thing.
Okay.
You have to get through as many as you can, as fast as you can. You only have 60 seconds, and you need to give us bomb answers at the same time.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Okay.
Here we go.
You need to warm yourself up, get comfy, move the chair around if you need to.
Okay.
So what I'm doing, I'm finishing the.
Yes. The sentence.
It's very self-explanatory once it's in front of you.
Oh, okay.
You got it?
5,
Go Max.
4,
Ready.
3,
Fire.
2,
Set.
let's go.
Amapiano is international.
Quickly. Nice. Keep going.
Faster.
The metaverse is progressive.
Nice.
The future looks good.
Mm-hmm.
Slay queens are.
He's trying to be politically correct.
Gold diggers.
Okay. Keep going.
Dreams are life.
Nice.
Instagram is picture perfect.
20 seconds left.
David orders are irritating. Entrepreneurship is freedom.
10 seconds.
iPhone is creativity.
Mm-hmm.
Power is enabling.
Time. Power is enabling. He pushed. Let's do a 60 seconds of strong count there.
Struggling to put these up.
Yeah, no.
Up.
Listeners,
Okay.
it's not a joke in Joburg.
Are we ready?
Here we go.
1, 2, 3, 4,
4.
5, 6,
Mm-hmm.
7,
Mm-hmm.
8, 9, 10.
10 on the dot for the man himself. Okay, 10. That's not bad. You did well. You said Slay Queens are. No, I'm joking. We can move on.
We're successful there.
Themba, thank you so much for coming on the show, brother. It's been amazing watching your story the last couple of years, but we know that it starts way before some of us got onto the footwear brand that you started a few years ago. Tell the people briefly, for the people who don't know who Themba Makamo is, who are you, sir?
Themba Makamo is a young boy was born in Mpumalanga.
Nice.
Yeah.
Same. Let's go. Mpumalanga boys.
Yeah, I came from the villages, and my dad, back in the day when you wanted the gold, you had to come to Joburg.
Nice.
So my dad moved to Joburg. We followed suit. We settled in Katlehong, and that's where I grew up. And basically the whole sneaker culture that I've, got attracted to was a result of growing up in the township.
Sure.
And yeah, so basically I grew up there and went on to, after I finished school, went on to become a journalist, quit my job, started businesses, failed a couple of times, and then eventually hit the sweet spot with this one.
Yeah.
When I started the sneaker business, and we're here today.
I love that. I love that.
Failing forward. I absolutely love that. But you skimmed past the other businesses, and that's the meat.
Yes.
That's the Bull brand that you are trying to get through. So I think I love the stories of entrepreneurs who, obviously there's always something that you did while you were in school, right? And yours was selling snacks to children. I think, was it peanuts?
Yeah.
Peanuts to your peers. That's the first one. Usually I hear, the other things.
Yeah.
Peanuts, and you used a matches box as the scoop.
Yeah.
So explain to me, how much were you selling, like one portion? I need to, because that's the first thing I was like, hey man, box of menches is small. So is this like a 2-bob situation or what happened?
That's basically it. So it was, when depending, sometimes when you met people that you liked, you'd add more on the scoop. So
Sure.
Scoop would be more packed. So, but if anything, you scooped from you had iskaftin, iskaftin, and then you would scoop and then sell it for. It was at the time. It was, I think, per scoop it was around your 10 cents, 20 cents. That was that was it. So that's how I started.
Who even inspires you to do something like that?
Okay, I came from a big family. There were 7 of us. So
Siblings.
seven siblings. And as a result, the person who was working was my dad.
Sure.
So we survived on his one salary. So that sort of like teaches you to be self-reliant.
Yes.
And you have to find ways to, if you want to buy a toy, if you want to buy a shoe, if you want to buy anything, you have to find ways to be creative to raise money. So I was into soccer. I wanted to buy soccer boots and that was one of the ways, to hustle until I could, save enough money and buy myself a pair.
Okay, so then how profitable was this business? Like, how long? Because I'm thinking shilling. How long did it take you to finally buy those boots? Or did you have to change the business model and add other product to the mix?
Yeah, definitely. Because I was selling that during school time, but after school, I was into other businesses. So I was also raised a bit by my grandmother. So she was very entrepreneurial. She sold anything, and, we used to sell clothes, we used to sell buckets, all sorts of things. So that supplemented that business from school as well.
Wow, man. Now, fast forward to 2019. You wake up one day and decide to start a footwear brand, a sneaker brand.
And then COVID hits.
And then, hey, timing, Baba. That's the thing. You never know. So how did that even come up?
Yeah. So I've always had a creative mind. I always like to create things. I always like to question why something is the way it is.
Sure.
And so at the time in 2019, I felt, okay, it was the right time to create footwear that really told our stories, that really reflected our surroundings, that also is designed based on our territory. Because I came from the township and I used to like a lot of footwear, but a lot of footwear is like white sneakers. The ones that are dope are always white, cream. But when you grow up in the township, in the dusty streets, and you wear those, 5 minutes into it, they're dirty. So then it was that type of vibe of, I want to create stuff that, reflect my surrounding, my environment.
Sure.
And that's how the idea came about. That let me design something that will tell our story, that will reflect who we are. Yeah. And so I designed the sneaker. And when we were about to launch it, and then COVID hit.
So let's talk about that, right? Because you've got the business case down. You're enthusiastic about what's gonna happen. You're saying, listen, man, South Africa, Siavaya.
Yeah.
COVID, it's What happens in that? Because at first they say it's 1 week, then it's 2 weeks. I'm sure you've got a team that you are working with. Had you started manufacturing the shoes yet?
No, we hadn't started. We had done samples by that time. We're just we at the time we were also in a testing phase, just to see if this thing was gonna work. So it was very important. So when that happened, you put it right. There were people that I was working with, but it was a lot of volunteers because there was no budget as such. Okay. But when COVID hit, it was the gift and the curse. It was like, okay, this thing is really now stopping the whole process. So we're like, no, let's just maybe wait it out and see what happens afterwards. But then, as an entrepreneur, you have to see an opportunity in everything.
Yes.
So when we sat down and we said, you know what, the opportunity here is that everybody's locked indoors.
Yeah.
No one's going anywhere, and probably everyone's sitting and looking at their phones. So this is an opportunity to be able to pile up as much content as we can, because people's attention is just on social media. So that's how we changed the whole situation, that from like a disaster to something to a blessing, because it really worked. It really worked.
Okay, now tell me about that. What was the process of, first of all, building an audience of people that have never even seen or touched? They don't know that this thing is tangible, right? How do you make it something that's tangible? And I also touch on the fact that you had this community of people that were doing this for you without expecting anything in return. That's something that's beautiful.
That's such a good question, because I always think about, perfume or cologne adverts. So you can't smell the thing on the screen. You can't smell it on the... So what they do, they go for your emotions. They target how you feel. So they'll show a beautiful woman, and then advertising. So basically, psychologically, like, if I put that on, and I'll be able to hook those
We
kind of
know
girls.
that one brand that does those things. You won't name it.
So even with us, we thought, okay, showing a sneaker, it would just be a picture.
Yeah.
So what will appeal more to the people is the story behind it.
Sure.
So what we did, we just zoomed in on the story. We focused on telling the story of where we come from, how did this brand come about, and what I had to overcome to get to a point where this brand came into fruition. So we just told the story a lot of times, and the story appealed to people, and it really resonated with who they are. And then eventually a lot of people just followed because of the story.
Yeah.
The shoe was like secondary. It was something that people only looked at after really, zooming in into the story.
I love that. When did you realize that I think I've got something here? Like, I'm doing something.
What happened was, when we put up the picture and we started telling the story, I think maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks down the line, somebody said, where can I get the shoe?
Sure.
Like, no, the shoe is not available. It's just a picture.
Sure, yeah.
And the story it's still coming.
Yeah.
And they said, you know what? I don't care. Give me your bank account.
Oh, sure.
Give me the bank account.
Yeah.
If it comes after 6 months, if it comes after 3 months, I don't care. I love it. I wanna support you.
Yeah.
Let me pay. And we gave the guy the bank account.
Yeah.
He deposited the first payment.
Your first pre-order.
Yeah, it was a pre-order. And even at that time, we didn't have that mindset of pre-orders, when that guy insisted, we thought, okay, I thought to myself, okay, we've got something here. If somebody pays for something that doesn't exist, actually, it's a picture and a story.
Yeah.
It says, okay, we've got something here.
Yeah.
So you already had people buying into the brand because you told the story that was purely South African, and people automatically related to that. It's beyond just putting on a shoe. It's about where we come from, who we are. What do you think it is about perhaps your upbringing, the community that you were brought up in, that I think instilled those characteristics within you that also made it so relatable for people to, like you said, buy into the brand before they even buying the batu? The Via footwear shoe.
Danko.
You know, when I said that, I was actually meaning
the shoe.
Which is cool. Okay, that's one of the reasons why this is working.
Yeah.
Okay.
The language itself, it's our language.
It is.
When you say Batu, when you say Via, these are words that you can relate to, because these are words that we grew up hearing all the time.
Yes.
So I mean, when I was growing up, I was into the Jordan story.
Sure.
But you couldn't get anything from like TV. If you were into basketball in South Africa, it was tough. You couldn't get, there was no basketball shows. There was no basketball courts in the township. But you had this shoe that looked good and said it's associated to this guy who's great. But it didn't connect, because it's not a sport that you grew up playing. It's not a sport that and it's not a sport that you're exposed to. But when you say Ivaya and you say eyasekasi and ngikhulele kasi, and this means go. It basically means go for it, whatever it is. It really just starts there. The language, people can relate to the language. And then when you come into the story, my story personally, it's a story of a lot of kids that come from the same background as I'm from. Not a lot of people make it out of Katlehong to become successful. So we had like a couple of figures. We had like Skarango Bese in soccer, and that's the guy that we all looked up to.
Yeah.
But so now when you see someone telling a story through a sneaker and he comes from the same background as you, it really resonates with them, and then it connects. And I think that's why people just gravitated towards this brand.
Oof.
Did having that big family play any role into, I guess you have to be resilient. You have to be, what are the other things that you think, you know what, if I did not come from where I came from, if life was a little bit different for me, I wouldn't have even thought of starting this business.
You know, what you said about a big family is that because there's so many of you, you gotta stand out.
Yeah.
You know, if so you gotta speak up. When you come from a big family, it's rare that you find a person that is very down to earth and soft spoken, because it's loud. If you don't speak up, you won't even get your plate of food. Exactly. You might miss out on your food. You have to speak up and say, I haven't eaten. Because so I came from that environment that forces you to just, you know, take up your space and stand for whatever you believe in. So I think that on its own forced me to say, if I'm going to get into this space of sneakers, it doesn't have to be a sneaker that's average. It's a sneaker, when you see it, it has to hit you. It has to hit you in the heart, and you have to pay attention and say, I want that.
Yeah.
So from that family upbringing, it also contributed to the entrepreneurship in terms of just wanting to put something that really means something out there.
Wow. Speaking of taking up space, I think a lot of people know of your successes. I mean, you see like regular civilians are wearing your shoes, celebrities are wearing your shoes. But I want to know what were the difficulties of starting just any brand, honestly, here in South Africa, especially with something like shoes where people love the overseas stuff. You know, that's where the real prestige comes from. How was it then selling a purely South African shoe from a South African guy?
I think the first hurdle is the credibility.
Sure.
Because it's South African, automatically we were dealing with, then the quality is bad. You know, it's gonna, people are immediately, before you could even get into the market, they are already judging you before they even wear the shoe. Go to, hey, it's South African, so where do you make it?
Yeah.
Hey, is it not Chinese? Is it not? So everybody is looking at it from that perspective. So you have to first get over that hurdle. And what has helped, and we thank whoever invented social media. Because what happened with social media is that there's influencers, people that have influence, on other people. And if they see those people, endorsing the brand, it kind of helps you get over that credibility problem, because that's the first challenge we faced. People were very dismissive.
Sure.
But once we started having influencers, your celebrities, your musicians, all of those people, they embraced us, and once they started taking on the brand, people started saying, okay, let me give it a chance.
Yeah.
And really just and go and buy it and see how it feels.
So then what would you say to other young South Africans who are looking to start brands in spaces and industries that are very internationally dominated here in South Africa? What would you say to them who want to start, honestly, in any industry?
I think it begins with authenticity. It has to be really genuine. People have to feel, okay, this is you bringing something different to the table. It's not what we are used to from the international. And I think that's why Amapiano is doing how it's doing around the world. But that tells you that if something is genuine and authentic, people out there, they are craving something new and something different. So if we are going to compete internationally, if we are going to compete with your multinational companies that have flooded the market, that dominate the market, we can't beat them at their own game trying to do what they do. We have to come up with something that's uniquely ours, that speaks our language, that speaks in our language, and then we are able to stand out from that crowd.
Wow.
You know what I love about South African culture, right? Is that I mean, in the 80s and 90s, with the influence of hip hop and that whole culture coming from the West, there was, in our spaces, it was a thing of, yes, we were influenced by them, but there was always this phrase of, "Ay man, hasimo state simo."
Yeah.
You've got to make it your own, right? And that's where Kwaito came about. And we've recently, in the past perhaps 8 years, had this thing of we need to support local a lot more. And we need to consume locally, produce locally. And I love how the current the current political and economic climate of the world as a whole is only now catching up to what we've been saying so far. And they're localizing their business matters. You know what I'm saying? What does it mean for you, this whole wave of consuming locally? Because I don't think people understand how impactful it is for somebody to buy your shoe instead of so and so's shoe, or going overseas, or going to Diamond Walk, whatever, because that then impacts indirectly the economy of our country. And now if we keep doing that, it's growth for all of us. There's people that you are employing who their families are being fed. So at different levels of life, there's such a huge impact of that supporting local. What does it mean for you?
Oh, that's a very good question. You know, I'll make an example. So I've been in a lot of businesses, and one of the businesses I once had, I still have it. It's in the granite space, granite manufacturing. So there was a time when I was approached by some Chinese gentlemen, and they said, "You know what? We see you doing this manufacturing, and there's, you're using grinders, and it's very labor intensive. So you've hired a lot of people. We can cut this for you and cut the costs so that you can make more money. Basically, we will cut the granite in China and bring it to you, and you'll buy it at a fraction of the price that you are buying it now." And what it meant was I had to now get rid of all those guys that are working. But because I'm South African, I know the struggles of my people. I know what people go through. I thought to myself, yes, I'm going to make more money. I'm going to cut costs. It's gonna make me probably, a bit more richer than I was yesterday. But what about all of those guys' families that are dependent on these jobs? I know those guys, they are paying school fees for their kids. They're feeding them. And I took the decision to say, you know what, I'm not going to do it purely out of, I want to keep these guys employed. So even with the sneaker business, it's that mindset of, I know this is not for me. It's not for me. So it helps a lot of people. So if you buy the sneaker, you're not just boosting Themba and making Themba rich. You're creating opportunities for a lot of people. But what we don't understand, and I think we need to emphasize this, is that, I've seen it happen when you talk about globally. I know everybody knows now there's a war there's Russia and Ukraine and all of that. When that war started, all the Western companies in Russia left. Your Nikes, your your car companies, they all left at the same time. What it told me is that because it's not their country and it's not their people,
they can just fire.
They can just wake up and pack up.
Yeah.
What about me? If there was to be a war in South Africa, would I just pack up and leave? And where do I go?
Where are you going?
Where am I gonna go? So it means I'm more loyal to my people. If anything happens, I'll stick with them. That means if you support me, you're supporting someone that is in it for the long run, that is going to create these jobs and sustain them because this is home.
Yeah. Oof.
And it seems like you're confident in that loyalty right now. I mean, we're like a year and a half, 2 years almost out of COVID.
Yeah.
And you've got already, I mean, you built it, this community, and people are now consuming your product. Where do you see your business in 5 years' time, but also yourself and obviously the other business ventures that you're going into, considering that you've got this community that is so loyal and I think resonates with that message of local, I'm about my people?
I was fortunate a couple of years ago to go to France, to Paris. And the first thing that hit me there was when you get out of the airport, you see a lot of billboards as a LV, Louis Vuitton, and they basically saying, if you buy counterfeit, you get arrested and you get fined. In France, I was like, oh, this thing is big.
Yeah.
But when you get into study or like research, I mean, you find out that that is the biggest contributor in their GDP in France. So they're very passionate about it. So they want to protect that industry. And but this is the realization. So when I was walking around there, I never saw any shop that was African. And I thought to myself, oh my goodness, we consume all of these brands. I know all of them by name.
Yeah.
I can even tell you the different designs and the designers, but there's no African brand here. There's like literally no African representation except for the guys that are coming from Africa that stay there. When you meet guys from Tunisia, from, all these African countries, but there's nothing in terms of us culturally brand. So where I would like to see this brand is in those spaces to be able to tell our stories everywhere in the world as well. We've been at the receiving end of always consuming what everyone creates, but we never get to tell our stories to the world. That's where I would love for this brand to get to, even if, I don't know, I would love for it to happen in my lifetime, but I'm looking at it from like a bigger vision to say, even if I'm no longer there, it has to go on to the point whereby everywhere, if you visit a France or you go to a Brazil, you must be like, oh, there's a vibe. Oh my goodness. Yes, this is I'm actually from this country. So that's definitely the outlook. But in the next 5 years, we would love to have, penetrated and, spread towards the whole country, but also move up Africa. I already, like yesterday, I had a meeting with guys from Botswana, and they're saying, hey, there's people who want the sneaker here.
Boop, 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 boop. I love that, man. That's incredible.
Yeah,
dude.
so we want to get into those markets. So 5 years, I want us to be in Africa, all over Africa.
In the beginning of the show, when we're doing our 60 Seconds of Strong, you said that entrepreneurship is freedom. Please elaborate on that.
The freedom is that when you have something that you want to express and you really feel strongly about, the freedom is there to create whatever that you like. And, and I think it's that freedom of being able to come up with ideas and say, okay, I think this would work, and really just go and do it immediately. Unlike when you are under someone. So for me, that's the freedom. That's the creative freedom. I think I speak from a creative point of view.
Yeah.
So there's something that you mentioned off camera, right? Which was the fact that we are hitting the hard questions, not the what color is your shoe and all of that, right? And that's what we do here at the State of the Strong. But there's something that I'm learning. As you're speaking, I'm gathering data on who you are, and it's making Vaya more credible for me. We are doing our market research.
Yes.
So I'm realizing that, first of all, yes, we totally skimmed past the fact that you were actually a journalist before you went into this. And I'm seeing what I've been personally learning from the State of the Strong is that people accumulate skills throughout their life. And even though it has not, or perhaps that industry may be totally unrelated to what they're doing right now, there's lessons that they learned in those areas. And I see now the journalism coming in, and that is the reason why you focus on the story.
Yep.
And that is what built your business so much. Do you have anything to say or a message about the fact that we, applying what you learn and valuing the things that we learn and to build our businesses or to whatever it is,
Steve Jobs once said, you can't connect the dots, looking forward. You can't connect them. You can only connect them looking backwards. Every experience is valuable and it means something. One day it will come. There will be a moment in your life and you're like, oh, I understand now why I had to go through whatever I have to go through. Why I had to do what I had to do. There's experiences, for an example, I used to, after I finished school, I struggled a bit to get a job because of the background that I was coming from. So I looked for piece jobs and all of that. And one of the jobs I got was from a security company. We were selling alarm systems and we would knock door to door. And you know, the way people will respond to you when you meet them, it's very tough. You have to be able to break the ice and all of that. And, you know, but that experience, a couple of years later, now that I'm selling shoes, there's times when I meet someone and you say, hi, and immediately they think, what do you want?
Yeah.
But I take a lot from that experience, because now I'm able to just, you know, able to break that ice and communicate better. So even with journalism, coming to your assessment there, if it wasn't for journalism, I would have never done Via the way.
Yeah.
Because journalism teaches you one thing: your intro is the most important part.
Yeah.
So even when I put up something online, I think a lot about, I want this person, when they read the status or this post, I must grab their attention until the end.
Sure.
So that has also worked into my favor. And also being able to tell a story and unpack it, you know, through different stages. I've applied this with the brand. If you go back to my timeline, for an example, on Facebook, you can literally see the whole journey of Ivaya till now, because I've been documenting it step by step. But that's the journalist in me that's coming into play. So it's very important. Every experience you have, it will mean something someday.
Oh man, amazing. Before we let you go, Themba, I want you to talk straight to the viewer or the listener right now. I need you to give them your message of strength. If there's somebody sitting at home and they're thinking of a business idea, but they're like, hey, nyasaba, you know, I don't know what I'm going to do. How do I speak to people? What is your message of strength to them?
You know, something that just came into my mind as you speak is that every product that is created, whoever creates it with a purpose in mind. Nobody just creates a product and be like, oh, I wonder what you can do with this thing.
Sure.
You know, you create it because you've got a purpose for it. So whoever created us, he created us for a purpose. We were just not created and then, oh yeah, there's a Themba. I wonder what can I do with him?
Yeah.
Maybe he can get a job, or maybe no. All of us have a purpose. All of us were created for a reason. We exist. We came here for a reason. There's something we're supposed to fulfill. It might take us different paths, but we have to find what it is. And I think that's the starting point, to say, you know what, you're here for a reason. There's something that you are carrying that is great. The amazing thing about a seed is that in a seed, there's a tree. And, you know, a seed is so tiny, but it produces a huge tree. So whoever you are, there's something great that you're carrying. We may not see it because you may be in a position where people look at you and say, they don't see where you're going. But there's something great that you're carrying that the world needs.
Wow.
And I would say that's the strength, that you should take strength from that message to say, I'm here for a reason. I'm here for a purpose. And the first job is to find out what it is. But I have to do something for the world, you know, that gift, and share it with everybody.
Wow.
Yeah, the seed not only has a tree in it, but it also has the ability to bear fruit and other trees. And we need to just keep on passing it on, keep on growing it.
Definitely.
Wow.
That's beautiful.
Keita, thank you for coming through. Thank you for, I'm saying Keita because I know he's really walking the crowd.
Yeah,
He's doing the thing. And I appreciate that. So thank you for coming and sharing your story with us. Thank you for showing us that you are indeed a Mangoba. After this, we are going to go check out Via. We're going to go cop our Via. You know what I'm saying? Because we need to do it.
We need to high top, low top, whatever it is.
Oh, Chef Gabza, man.
Oh, let's go. Ooh, which one is this one?
So this one is a Bull Brand chili sausage roll.
Chili
Homemade,
sausage
yeah.
roll.
Yeah.
Wait, guys, can we please just take a moment for a Chef Gabza appreciation? This is the post.
Yes.
Because he has been, I've never seen a friend
It's actually like Mamzo, you cooked Bull Brand when I was a kid, but it was never like this. I need you to learn from Chef Gab.
Nama garnish.
Yeah.
Easy garnishes.
Thank you very much. Let's try it out, guys. Let's do it. Okay.
Please practice your journalism skills and just
Yeah, hey.
give us a food review. Ushayeli Singisi.
This one?
I should take this.
Thank you very much, friend.
I saw that one was bigger.
No, it's so. I appreciate you. Here we go. First bite.
Explain what you are tasting in words.
This is so good.
Yeah, I think it's the best way to describe it.
Yeah,
It's like a wow.
It's a wow. It's a wow.
It is good. It's
The pastry is amazing. I can taste the Bull Brand. Look at this, gourmet. We don't play around here. If you're looking for recipes like this one exactly, or other ones like this one, go to bullbrand.co.za/recipes. You can make this at home. I trust you. I believe in you. My brother, thank you so much for coming on the show. We appreciate you.
I appreciate this opportunity, and
Of
thank you
course.
for having me, man.
Lerai, as usual, you're amazing. This is what you do. Nothing but the best. That was this episode of The State of the Strong, a Bull Brand podcast. We had such a lovely time. I cannot wait for the next episode. Make sure you don't miss it. We'll see you guys then. Bye.